Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Teresa here. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found your way here to my channel. Today I'm sharing a hybrid layout with you for the Allison Pennington Creative Team. I'm working with a variety of collections here today. First off is the Subfloors collection, which is a pattern of or a collection of neutral patterns for your backgrounds. And you guys know I love a great neutral background that you can build upon for a dimensional, visually interesting background. I'm also working with a collection of Carefree Borders, which is what I like to call ink splotches, but they're different borders that you can recolor or add pattern papers to and different things like that. And then also the collection that I'm working with is called Weekenders. And I chose it because my photo, as you can see here on my screenshot of my Photoshop digital design here, the photo is from us in the spring preparing our back patio, bringing it back to life after the winter months. We usually cover our furniture back there and shut it down for the cold winter months, and then reopen it in the spring. And it's always a happy day for me. I love bringing that back into our functionality for our family. We spend a lot of time out there, especially with the new dog. We spend time out there with her and helping her to get around that space a little bit easier. And so what I have chosen to do with this layout, again, as has been a process that I've been enjoying lately, is creating a visually complex background, or what I consider visually complex, and then adding printed layers on top, ephemera, the photo, titles, different things like that. And one of the things that I did in this layout for today is I lifted one of the floral elements out of a pattern paper. And so I wanted to show you kind of how I did that in Photoshop. Now, in real life, you could print this pattern paper or this section of the pattern paper and hand cut it out yourself. But the nice thing about doing it in Photoshop is that you can adjust the size a little bit the way that you want it, and you can then send it to the silhouette to cut it for you if you want to use it as a physical embellishment. In this layout, I chose to use it as a digital element as part of the background, and you'll notice that it adds a bit of dimension, a pop of depth to this background. So let me share with you how I did that. First off, starting with that section of the pattern paper. And I went into the blending options under FX in the layers menu. And when you click on that tool, this box comes up that provides you with different options. And basically, the only thing that I really needed to do was dial back the slider bar on this layer. You can do that on the underneath layer as well at the bottom of the box. But for what I was doing at this point in my process was simply creating kind of a see-through layer here to show the background pattern paper. I thought that in my process, I wanted to originally have that bloom on top of the floral pattern paper, but that ended up not working out, but this is part of the process that I took to get to the end point. And I also wanted to show this tool to you, to show you how you can move it around, how you can play around with those options in that tool to give you different outcomes for blending a pattern paper. So much fun to play with those little options there. And then later on in my process, I did crop that down further. And here's where you'll see how I brought this about. I went into the object selection tool. And as you know, Photoshop has recently really upgraded and really worked on their object selection tool. And so I'm going into the magic wand and holding down the shift key. I'm working on a PC. And in the magic wand tool, I'm selecting the areas of that floral embellishment that I want for my layout. And then right click on that floral element, hit the layer via copy, and then delete the bottom layer. And that will give you the individual flowers as you see here on the background for this layout. So let's head right on into the process here. Let me share with you, that is the completed background as I printed it. And then the photo that I've now printed and brought to life. And several of the ephemera here from the Weekender collection. Now, the Subfloor collection the pieces that I used from that are actually the neutral background that you see. The florals in the lower left-hand corner are taken from one of the pattern papers, and also the wood grain. I mentioned the Carefree Borders. The wood grain that you see on the right-hand side of the layout, that is clipped to one of the borders. And also at the top of the page, there's a pink triangular border, and that is clipped to one of the Carefree Borders as well. So here, moving into the dimensional process here, the physical process. This was actually really quick to pull together once I had everything printed out. Gluing down the photo, gluing down the title here. I just used one of the word strips that says ready for relaxing, because that's exactly what this photo says is, come on out. You can see the broom and our drinks and things where we were working. So just a gorgeous little moment there of anticipation. The labels, I pulled those together for the journaling and printed those all out as one single element. And that sort of makes things a little bit easier to print and adhere to your layout. And then just a little word strip at the top there, just adding a little bit of dimension here and there using the very simplest little embellishments from this collection. The little flower and the buttons next to the photo. And all of that, just kind of inviting your eye upwards from the left to the right on the layout. Just a fun visual design trick, I guess, to lead your eye across the page. And everything follows that line, that diagonal line. So, with the date stamp added, that's the layout for today. I will have links down below for all of these products that you can purchase from Allison Pennington. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as always, I'll see you back here again real soon. Bye-bye.